Hello everyone, and welcome to my review of A Fate Forged in Fire by Hazel McBride. This fantasy romantasy book is coming out on May 27th, so make sure to mark down your pre-orders, whether you're ordering from the UK offices and versions or the US version from Delacorte Press. Thanks again to Hazel and Delacorte for sending me this ARC. I'm going to let you know that we have two parts to this review. The first part is going to be a little bit shorter. It is going to include no major spoilers for larger plot lines, so that those of you who want to be relatively surprised by the book can go ahead and enjoy and feel encouraged. And I'll let you know when we get to the second part of the video, which will include a stream of consciousness thought process on the entire book as I was reading it. I took so many random notes as this was happening, so enjoy. In the meanwhile, we're going to go ahead and start with that short spoiler-free review. This is a wonderful book for anybody that loves fantasy or romantasy books, as well as those who enjoy strong female leads and enemies to lovers. And I'm talking actual enemies to lovers, where they start out actually hating each other, fighting each other with swords and weapons, and also fire magic, because that's the thing. It's so good, you guys. Now, essentially what Hazel has done has provided us a story based in a lot of Scottish lore and mythology. It is really good. If you know a lot of Scottish folklore and mythology, you're going to see the little breadcrumbs left around that Hazel does, so that's definitely something to look out for. And if you don't know Scottish folklore or mythology, like I did before reading A Fate Forged in Fire, you're still going to have a good time, and it's probably going to make you want to go get Scottish folklore books. So thanks for adding more books to my TBR, Hazel, as usual. Now, essentially, to summarize this book, we can kind of go over a little bit of what the world building process is like. So, once a territory built on matriarchal rules and values, Circena has since grown frail from a long line of fruitless kings. Born to rule and blessed by fire, Emira Darkathian has begrudgingly lived in hiding rather than risk her life in court, waiting in anticipation for the current king's death so that she can bond his dragon, claim her throne, and protect her people. Her biggest adversary is Prince Fiorian, a dragon rider and one of the most powerful fire wielders in the territory. As chaos engulfs the court, they find themselves reluctantly entwined, forced to forge an uneasy alliance, one that soon ignites into something more dangerous than either of them expected. There is heaps of tension, you guys. Like, it's really hot. Definitely check out Hazel's page, because she includes some fan art and character art, and it shows, one, that Emira is hot in every scenario, but also shows a peak enemies to lover thing, you know, with the blade, trying to appease the algorithm here, you guys, with the blade to the throat. So good. And let me tell you, reading that scene, so hot. So enjoy that brief summary. We are going to be getting into my longer review, which will include spoilers. So just be forewarned. If you don't want to hear major spoilers for this book, definitely click off the video and go pre-order this from whichever is your preferred bookseller. Have fun. Now, for those of you that are sticking around, we are about to get into the... Again, have to appease the algorithm. We're about to get into it. When I said I took copious notes, I'm not going to go over all of my notes from every single chapter, otherwise this would be a fairly long video. So what we're going to do is just kind of go over some of my favorite highlights from the book. The opening sentence, it's really good. Is really good. And if you think I'm exaggerating, just hear this. As Emira crouched in front of the laboring mother, she came to the sudden realization that she only enjoyed having her face between a woman's legs when she was screaming out in pleasure, not pain. Hot dog. Yeah, so that's how we start the book. That is how we start this book. And if that doesn't immediately make you fall in love with Amira like it did for me, I think, you know, you might need to reread it again, because holy crap, right? I really appreciated having the facets of Amira's personality shown here, helping Mairi through the childbirth while holding back on the full strength of her own blessing with fire. The dynamic as siblings between her and Adarian is definitely also going to provide kind of an interesting point of conflict at times in the stories. One, because he's more bent on caution, while Amira is definitely longing for her birthright as the future queen of Circena. So that, I mean, first chapter rocked, you guys. It was absolutely fantastic and really sets us up. And the fact that Amira is a woman of many skills, like, she not only is being trained in midwifery and fire magic, now we learn that she also can forge and work as a blacksmith. I mean, is there anything that she can't do, you guys? Also, I love her penchant for quietly observing the things are going on around her so she can receive information. I do the same thing. I mean, I do it when I'm at a coffee shop with my iced chai and the book that I'm currently reading, and she's doing it to gain information about the weird goings-on, like the oppressive true religion in Circena. But here's the thing. You can't take the joy away from me that I have a similar trait as her, even if it's different scenarios. No one's going to do that. So the first meeting between our enemies to lovers happens in chapter 2, you guys. Hazel is keeping us fed. Now, it was so, like, sizzling embers is the best way I can think to describe it. It's not quite a full blaze yet, but it definitely signals that the heat will bloom between them. And, you guys, it does bloom later in the book. I'm telling you right now. Now, the fact that both of them were subtly, not so subtly, checking each other out despite being annoyed by each other was just, whew. It was so good, you guys. And kind of already, like I said, the true religion in Amira's sort of passive spying situation, but they are freaking awful. Of course, any time that any religion preaches to be the one true religion, and anyone who doesn't fall in line will end up dying horrible deaths, usually that means bad stuff's gonna follow because of these people. See Our Own World. I'm sure Hazel had some inspiration, considering the source material. Also, there is another character who I love, and that is Sorcia. Sorcia runs a wonderful little spot that Amira likes to go to and drink, and they kind of have a little something going on. Sorcia is a babe that 100% knows exactly what she does to Amira, and Amira likes it almost as much as I do. Probably more, because she's the one that actually gets to, you know, with Sorcia. But once again, screw the true religion priests for being sexist and homophobic in the same breath. Like, you think that you can insult the proprietor of the business that you're currently in, and the whole crowd of regular patrons isn't going to defend her? Be so for real. Okay. Quite honestly, I mean, there's a wonderful brief quote in there that says, "We are the light," and quite honestly, I might have to get some sort of representation of that tattooed on me. It is so good. Also, further cementing Amira as a badass. If they saw her as a demon, then she would gladly become one. Are you kidding me? Also, we start to get references to this strange Prince Daven, who is related to the current king, and I'm kind of wondering at this point if, you know, Amira and Adarian are related to him. For those of you who don't know, this was inspired once by a fan fiction that Hazel wrote that was based off of House of the Dragon, or, you know, the Targaryen history from the Game of Thrones series. Now, for those of you who haven't read that fan fiction, Prince Draven is heavily inspired by Daemon Targaryen. So, having read the fan fiction, I kind of know how this is going to go, which is why I was so vindicated almost immediately that Draven was, in fact, Amira's father. And the following ceremony where she's essentially, like, prepared to take her place as queen, so amazing. The ceremony was dope. Draven's character, also dope. Amira's continued strength of will, super dope. Now, we get sort of further into the book, and I am also going to let you know that, you think that the fire magic is essentially going to be kind of, you know, maybe fire bending from, like, Last Airbender. You know, they can, like, summon the fire or move existing fire or even conjure lightning or bend it in some cases. And, you know, it can have that function. Do you know what else it can do? Amira can let her bones melt to fight better with a sword. Like, what? I thought that the world building and magic system couldn't get any cooler. And then Hazel did that. Made Amira able to melt and reforge her bones so that she could be a better sword fighter. Yeah. I don't even know how to fully react to that now. Like, I remember reading it and just sitting there and having to process it for a full minute, just staring at that same sentence over and over, and rereading my notes for this. I still just am absolutely wowed by that fact. Also, he's back. And he is Fiorian for another charged exchange with Amira. And in this chapter, let's see. Instead of responding, Fiorian held her gaze, and she hated the way her pulse sparked. There was 3 feet of space between them, and yet his eyes held her captive. Is it hot in here, or is it just the forge powered by Amira's magic? Who knows? Certainly not me. No, I'm not blushing and sweating after reading that scene. Why would you even suggest such a thing? So, I am absolutely, like, in love with their tension, if you couldn't already tell. Also, you think, like, oh, this is gonna be great, like, she's gonna go claim the throne, it's gonna be great, her foster family and parents are so sweet, the heartbreaking, like, goodbye, and you're like, oh, it's gonna be fine, though, they're just gonna go and escape so that they, you know, can continue to do their thing. So, definitely, I won't be able to summarize all of the amazing plot points in these chapters, but I will let you know, as I was reading this, I 100% started planning my cosplay for Amira. I already have a casual version of Amira that I currently have some videos out in film, so definitely go check those out. But I want to do a full formal regalia coronation fit for Amira. So I'm going to be trying to work on that in a little bit. I have sort of a diadem crown piece that I want to do. I'll just have to get some gold paint to make it work. Also, the best quote, I said that earlier with the "we are the light." I'm just going to say that a lot in this review. Oh, this is the best quote. Because they're all the best. So here's this quote. "You are descended from ancient queens. Fire runs through your veins. Embrace it." I will. I promise that I will. Never mind that I don't have a drop of Amira's fire in my veins. I'm getting hyped up like I'm actually one of the characters. This is too good, y'all. It's too good. And there's also another quote that I really enjoy, and it's not necessarily an epic quote. It just made me start laughing. Fiorian, however, seemed ready to put a sword through her gut. You want to know my immediate thought after hearing that? Put a sword through her gut. In more ways than one, I'd wager. Who? Why am I like this? Of course, as she's going to do this proper ceremony to be crowned and become queen, the current faction in charge messes things up. Of course they mess things up. They're sort of there, and they're threatened, and they're told, no, you can't do this, you're not gonna be queen, and Amira's moment is totally ruined. Again, screw these people. And, of course, leads to yet another proper enemies to lovers fight. Fantastic. Being shoved against the rocks should not be as hot as it was. And it should probably make me examine why I feel the way I do about that. But that's for another time. What we are going to talk about is, also, like, Amira, what are you doing? You're gonna risk everyone's lives trying to claim the old king's dragon? I forgive you, because you did stay behind to fight Fiorian so that Adarian could reach the boat. Still, kind of a big risk. And, like, I get it, but, come on. I will say, it does lead to a great scene where she steals the garnet from the sword that he had made, and she said, essentially, this is mine now, and she's going to use that to remember her rage, because we love feminine rage, and apparently Hazel does too. So, they 100% managed to get away somehow, but eventually she is trying to know how she can beat them, and she eventually is trying to claim this dragon called the Terror. And the Terror is this well-regarded, well-known, infamous dragon in Chirchena. You kind of don't get the nickname the Terror if you don't do some crazy things. So she gets her new leathers. She's out there, and she said, I'm finding it. I'm gonna go get this dragon. I was reading this particular chapter where she was trying to find the Terror and forge a bond with her. I was in the hair salon getting my hair dyed. Yeah, this is technically kind of close to my natural, you guys, but I had purple hair for a really long time, so I had to get it back to brown. And if you know anything about that process, it takes a long time. A couple hours. So, just imagine, I am in the salon with dye in my hair, on the edge of my seat, little cape around me, eyes bulging, and like, I was stressed. Amira stood her ground, the Terror saw it and respected it, and they are perfectly matched. And the Terror has been female all these years, and everyone just assumed that the Terror was male. Apparently, you're not just sexist towards human women, you're also sexist to female dragons? Yeah, because that makes sense. She has this wonderful quote in here where it says, "She reached out her fingers, desperate to touch the hide of a dragon for the first time. It was the moment she had desired more than becoming queen. After a lifetime of dreaming, Amira finally made contact with the warm scales. Her skin registered the heat of the dragon, the unforgiving solid hide, and she suddenly felt complete. Then Amira burst into flame." Now, from there, we see that she is going to try and get her revenge. She tries to track down Prince Fiorian. It does not go well. The first fight was great. She won that first round. She took his little gem. Second fight, she gets beaten, gets kidnapped, brought back to court, and the current faction in charge arranges a forced marriage between her and Fiorian, and the tension rackets up because they still kind of hate each other. At least that's what we're seeing on the surface. However, you know, they say there's a fine line between hate and attraction. There's a lot going on, and some of the heavy plot points that we hit later in this book do include things like child death and poisoning and very awful things and controlling things done to women. So I will say it does get a little tough and dark at times, so definitely when you go and read the book, keep that in mind. And if for whatever reason any of those things, you know, will make you have some sort of reaction, please take care of yourselves. Skip those passages. It is more important that you're able to enjoy yourself and enjoy the rest of the book than to read every scene and every detail. I will say I think that Hazel handles these situations and these plot lines with incredible tact, considering having to move the story forward and use certain things and events happening. But for those things to happen, Hazel could not have handled it better. So keep that in mind. There is going to be more tension, more events that I'm not going to cover, because I do want you guys to have a little bit of something to enjoy and find on your own reading the book. In the meanwhile, definitely get your pre-orders out before the 27th. This is going to be probably one of my favorite reads of the year. Maybe like top 10 books of all time. I don't know, you guys. It's part of a duology, and that duology is part of a larger world building series set on the different regions in Erisocia. That's right, you all. Tirchana is just one. 2 books set in that region, and then there will be other books. Hazel is keeping us fed. In the meanwhile, if you are desperately waiting for your pre-order to arrive, I can also suggest other books by Hazel. You can see I have some up here. This is her Ocean's Daughter trilogy. Now, this is a YA fantasy series, so it is not a mature adult fantasy, but it is still absolutely fantastic. We get a little bit of The Little Mermaid thrown in there. We get a little bit of Percy Jackson. It is absolutely fantastic. May 27th. Mark the date on your calendars, y'all, and make sure that you head on over to all of the social medias, find Hazel McBride, and give her a good follow, because she is releasing content about the book and the publishing process, and it's a really great time over there. Have fun!